Well, hello again, everybody. This is John Norris at Trading Perspectives. As always, we have our very good friend, Sam Clement. Sam, say hello.
Hey, John.
You doing okay today?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. Really can't complain about the weather outside. After Hurricane Delta went through here, it's been absolutely gorgeous weather in central Alabama, and the gorgeous weather helps to take my mind off maybe some of the negative headlines that we just seem to be deluged.
Yeah, it's just a season of, that's kind of...
discontent.
Yeah, season of discontent. That's perfect.
Now is our spring, summer, fall, and winter of our discontent.
Yeah.
It's really been painful. All news is bad news. All headlines are bad news. It's just been very discouraging. And dare I say, I'd be surprised if we didn't find out that depression levels in the United States are just up and up and up through the roof. Heck, even when you can't go to the Magic Kingdom, you can't go to Disneyland, and you can only a fistful of people can go to Disney World. How, when the magic of Disney isn't available to people, how can we possibly be happy? It's
tragic.
It's very tragic. Well, something on Disney kind of maybe thought this too, and in a major PR announcement today, this is Tuesday, it said that it's going to focus on streaming their content moving forward.
Yeah, and I think depending on the circle of where you're getting your news, some of the finance people, it's obviously a big deal there. But, other people may have not even heard of this or heard this shift, because it may not seem that big of a deal to some people. They're already doing streaming. They already own a good chunk of Hulu, and they already have their own Disney Plus streaming network. So to some people, they just say, well, what's the difference? They're already kind of doing that.
Well, they are already kind of doing that, but they're also doing things the traditional way, where they make a movie and they produce it, then they got to go out and pitch it to the movie theaters, and then they've got contracts with DirecTV and Comcast and all these other ones to supply content, what have you. So while Disney has always had a strong distribution arm, it has really been a dominant production company.
Right.
The production of entertainment content, not necessarily the complete distribution of it, and now what they're saying is we're just going to vertically integrate. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to vertically integrate. And Sam, I've been wondering why the company hadn't focused on this moving forward. Well, I mean, a long time ago, because if I'm not mistaken, it owns something like 35 to 40% of Hulu, the streaming service. And then a few years ago, everyone was all upset because people were cutting the cord with cable, fewer and fewer ESPN subscribers, all that stuff. Disney stock's getting hammered as a result. And I kept on saying, at some point, Disney's going to announce they're just going to get away from all these packages with Comcast, DirecTV, and what have you.
Direct to consumer.
And just go directly to the consumer. And you know something? If Disney starts doing this, and they did it with Hamilton earlier. Remember that? Yeah. When they did that with the play earlier? This is really... Man, right here, this is just proof positive of how COVID-19, the pandemic, and what we're doing to it is fundamentally changing our lives and how we conduct business. And something for the consumer, Sam, this is pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny, again, you kind of hit on it. I think if there's been one major theme of our podcast since COVID-19 kind of started here, is that it's sped up things that were already kind of happening. And that's something you mentioned too, is Disney, they owned a good chunk of Hulu, and we were kind of wondering, why aren't they focusing on the streaming more? Why are they, trying to force some of those traditional channels for so long? And then we get to, the pandemic, and they'd already started the Disney Plus, and that had already been going, but now they've completely shifted their business models directly to it, and it's fantastic for consumers, if you ask me.
And if you haven't seen the PR release, by all means, go out and read it. In no uncertain terms, the company is going to do a reorg with its distribution channels, and they're going to focus very heavily on this direct to the consumer. So, as Sam mentioned just a few moments ago, you might be thinking, well, haven't they already been doing this? Well, let's think about it. What does that mean for the movie theater industry?
Yeah.
What does it mean for the cable companies? And if all of a sudden Disney movies are going to be available direct to you, Sam, for a low fee or something like this, of you can get all first-run movies for $10 or whatever. It's going to be more than $10. I'm pretty confident of that. But if you can get all first-run movies sent directly to your home just for signing up with Disney's streaming device, or application, are you going to do it?
Well, it seems to me like going to the movie theater would become, maybe like going to a baseball game where it's just kind of the only reason you would go is for the outing aspect of it, like the nostalgia maybe of it, to go and get popcorn and candy or whatever and sit at a movie theater, because it's getting to a point where you don't need to. And the companies that are producing these movies have realized that, and so they're kind of going along with it, and everyone's just kind of skipping over the movie theaters.
Well, when you consider the size of the televisions at people's homes,
Yeah.
and the quality of the picture,
Comfort.
the comfort, all of that.
You
I mean,
can pause it,
this now makes sense. When I was your age, when I was coming along, I'm 24 thereabouts. A 19 to 21 inch television screen was considered a pretty much the norm. Mm-hmm. That has been quite a few years ago, but even so, it's been within my lifetime, 3 decades ago, where a 19 to 21 inch television with old vacuum tubes, and they're heavy standard definition television. This wouldn't work there. It's come on.
Go see a massive screen.
Yeah, you want to go see a massive
better.
screen. You want to go to the movie theater. It's part of it. But now all of a sudden, a lot of people, I feel as though I'm cheating my family by only having a 55-inch television.
It is not uncommon to see 80 or 85-inch television.
And so when you start getting that size, when you start getting to super high def, gee whiz.
The 4K, it's clearer than...
And the surround sound, all of it. All of a sudden you're kind of going, why am I going to go out to the movie theater?
Mm-hmm. Spend, what 2 tickets would be a month of this streaming service, and then you buy a large popcorn, and that's another month of the streaming service, and then
the thing
candy and Coke, and then you're at 3 months, you're at a quarter of a year's worth of streaming, whatever.
And so this is going to be a major disruptor in the movie theater industry, or just in the movie industry, just in general. And I think we wrote about this in our new normal series. For everyone that wants to pick that up, just by all means go to oakworthcapital.com and go take a look underneath the Thought Leadership tab, and you can scroll around down in there and find it. We discuss this about how a lot of the movie companies are going to start bypassing the middleman because the technology is there to do it. Mm-hmm. People are getting more and more used to doing this type of thing, just downloading movies. And let's face it, it's expensive to go to the movie theater.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive, especially when you're comparing it to the alternative.
And the thing is, Disney's not going to be making any real less money because, the cost of the ticket is essentially, what I understand, the cost of the ticket is what Disney's charging the movie theater company. Mm-hmm. The movie theater company's making their money off of the soda, the popcorn. And that's the reason why this stuff is so expensive at the movie theater, is because that's where these people are making their money. Right. They're not necessarily making the money.
They don't make a ton of money on the ticket.
Well, it's kind of like a gas station. Someone used this analogy to me, this comparison. The gas station, you might make a dime per gallon on selling gasoline. Yeah. They make money off the people. They don't really
choose the price either.
Yeah, they don't really choose. They make their money on people coming in buying beer and smokes and sodas and, Jack Link's peppered beef stick, that type of stuff. That's where the margins are for those people. It's the same thing in the movie theater industry. So what happens? Well, all of a sudden I'm going, Sam, I'm going to just pick up a Orville Redenbacher's and some IPAs, and I'm going to watch this movie at my house.
Comfort of your own home.
And so it's been a while, and listen, the people at Disney are very bright, incredibly bright. And, for years I was going, why can't they figure this out? Why can't they figure, this is what they need to be doing, this is what they need to be doing. I am certain it had a heck of a lot to do with existing contracts and just the willingness to write off something on their balance sheet.
And I think part of it is people, naturally want to hang on to the losers. If you buy stock and it goes down, people want to hold that a lot quicker than something that goes up, and they've done it for so long, and there's just this, people are inclined to stick it out and try and fix what it is instead of saying, maybe this isn't the future, maybe this is kind of broken, and maybe we do need to actually just shift our whole business model away from this a little bit. And that's kind of whether they just came to that realization or they've kind of known it. That they've committed to it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is what I think the future of the movie theater industry looks like in the United States, and then I want you to give me what you think. Maybe we'll trade some perspectives.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about live theater for just a second. Now, what I think moving forward is you're going to have fewer movie theater complexes, fewer movie theater companies, and those movie theaters which remain are probably going to be a little bit smaller. They might be nicer, actually. And they're going to show just the premium of the premium movies, and they're going to be expensive as all get out. They're going to be very expensive, but they're going to be selling movies and the movie experience based on product and service and not on price. We're not going to have the 25 screens and what have you. We're going to have 2-3 screens, and it's actually going to be an experience to go to the movie theater. And that's what they're going to have to sell on. You know, the experience of going to the movie theater. And if that's what you're selling, the experience, you can't sell on price, so they're going to have to sell on something else. That's what I think. So I think we're going to see a sharp reduction in the number of actual screens, but a huge improvement in the experience of going to watch a movie.
Yeah, I think, something pretty similar. I think it's hard to argue that we're not going to see less movie theaters in general, some consolidation. But I think the two areas, in my opinion, that we're going to see kind of, I don't know if thrive is the right word, but at least maintain is the two ends of it. The very upscale movie theaters, the ones where, you can go and order a full meal at your leather recliner.
Delicious.
Yeah. Oh, and then the very bottom of the barrel kind of movie theaters where there's
we won't go there, Sam.
Yeah, there's still there's still a few around here where it's like $2 to get in a movie theater, and they're maybe playing older movies and not getting them necessarily up to date, but I think those are the ones that you're probably going to see stick around more, especially the higher end ones. Those ones.
So, but here in the Birmingham area, we've seen a number of movie theater complexes kind of close down over the years as the cinemas have been getting bigger and bigger screens, but they're all doing the same thing. They're all showing the same movies, have roughly the same sales prices, same price points, all that stuff. I think we're probably going to see a shift there,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think we're disagreeing.
No.
However, I do think that $150, the $2 movie theater, that's going to be a hard way to make money.
It will be.
It's going to be real tough. So I tend to think that I might disagree with you on that. You might have that, but I will tell you that for those companies, movie theaters that do survive, it's going to be a heightened level of service and a much higher experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people want to pay for. They want to pay for experience.
That's what I'm saying is, kind of like the baseball game. The new stadiums are being built around an experience.
It's part of the experience. And in that way, it's going to be sort of a back to the future type of deal, because that's why movie theaters were originally. It was the experience of going to. And as is evidenced by, say, the Alabama Theater downtown.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to live theater, this is where, my daughter's a musical theater major. My wife's very into theater. This is where I think we could see even more massive changes if only the musical theater or the theater industry could think like business people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to be pejorative here, what have you. I'm not sure, because you have smaller production companies running these shows. They're not thinking like Disney. Like Disney's saying, man, I got to turn a quarterly profit. How can we turn this quarterly profit?
Yeah, we got investors in a month and a half.
It's a little bit different story. Like, for instance, I've read that, New York has shut down Broadway until May of 2021 or something along those lines. Closer to home, my daughter, again, she's a senior. She's a musical theater major, with a couple of different minors as well. Her school, Birmingham Southern College, has pretty much canceled the remainder of the fall season and canceled its spring season for live theater. So essentially, took any senior year of theater and just kind of canceled it because of the concerns about COVID-19. And my wife and I were both of the same opinion. Why are they doing that? And he goes, because of the pandemic, duh. I said, no, go back to your professors and say, let's figure out a way to live stream this. Let's figure out a way to do this. People will pay for it, and at least you get something going on. Yeah. You don't lose 2 whole seasons of no one paying attention to you. Got to stay in front of people doing this, and I truly do think that those angel investors, the smarter ones, of the bigger houses in New York, hopefully will see this as a wonderful opportunity where we can live stream theater into people's homes. I think the success of Hamilton on Disney Plus showed that.
Yeah,
And now some theater purists are, we can't do this. It's not the same. I'm not going to tell you it's the same as seeing it in the theater, but think about it. You have to be in the theater. What if the theater's not open? I'm going to bring the theater to you and get you watching theater.
Exactly,
again.
and I think I'm an example of that. I don't think I would ever go pay the
$400
exorbitant
a
amount of
ticket,
money it is to go watch Hamilton. And to be fair, I haven't watched it streaming either, but I could tell you I'm a lot more likely to go click on it on a streaming service than I am to buck up $400 and go watch something.
So this is where I think truly this is going to be another example of how COVID-19 has changed how we live our lives and conduct business, where I truly do believe that live theater will ultimately benefit when we have people in live theater who start thinking more like business people and how can we widen our net, and they will make money hand over fist.
Like those Disney
hand over
cats.
fist. Like those fat cats at Disney, right? So what do you think about that?
I think you're right. I agree.
Yeah, I think you're right too. It's going to be fun to see. It's not going to be fun for some of these people that have invested in or own movie theater chains, but even so, this is just this is just expediting the inevitable in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This was coming, and it's just coming faster now thanks to COVID-19. So guys, thank you all so much for listening. We always love to hear from you. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. You can always send us an email to tradingperspectives@oakworthcapital.com, or you can leave us a review on the podcast outlet of your choice. If you're interested in hearing more or reading more of what we have to say, you can check out our blog, Common Sense, at oakworthcapital.com underneath the Thought Leadership tab. Sam, going to give you the last shot.
That's all I got.
That's all I've got today, too. Y'all take care.